Hello everyone, thank you so much for purchasing my new preset pack. Super excited to share it with you guys. Today I'm just going to take you through 6 of my photos and I'm going to edit them live to show you behind the curtain of my editing process and how I achieve the look you might have seen on my website or my Instagram. So before we get started, I just want to address that these definitely work best if they are a raw camera file. So definitely go ahead and switch your camera to raw settings if you aren't already. It just doesn't look as good if you're just shooting in JPEGs. Next, I want to address the fact that yes, this is only one preset pack, but it's for a good reason. I've spent a lot of time tinkering with this one to be super resilient to all different kinds of scenes. And how many of you have experienced this so far where you buy a preset pack that's 10 to 15 presets and just all of them don't really match what your expectations were when you bought them in the first place? To illustrate this, I had purchased another photographer's preset pack. I'm not going to specify who, but I just named it Anonymous here for now. But as I dove into their preset pack, hoping to kind of achieve a similar look, just nothing was really sticking. And these presets definitely work for that person, but as you can see, I don't even know what to do with any of these presets. They're just not fitting my photo, not fitting what I imagined. I don't even know where to start to remedy them. Um, and that's kind of a huge letdown. So I spent a lot of time on my one preset, and hopefully it's just user friendly through and through, and you can achieve a similar look for your feed. So let's reset this and dive right in. Let's make this scene awesome. Click Forest and Foliage. Bam, right away. That's looking pretty cool to me. Um, so what I specified in the user guide and what I recommend you do for this is first use the Forest and Foliage preset. It'll get you about 85% of the way there, and then you have to tinker with the settings based on your photo because they'll never be the same between photo to photo. So always, this is what I recommend. You start and just tinker with the temperature and tint first based on what, and then just see what you like. Um, Even slight shifts in temperature and tint can have a huge effect, so just use it sparingly. Move down, go to presence. For foliage, I like low texture and low clarity. I think it really brings out a lot of detail in the foliage, but tinker with it to the point that you like. That looks cool to me. Everything's looking real crisp and sharp. And then move down to hue, saturation, illuminance, and tinker with it for the earth tones. So red, orange, yellow, green. That's the first 4. Just start playing around with it. This is exactly what I do. And just move it back and forth. And based on what you like and what looks good to you, just find some of those changes. And all right, that's looking very nice and festive autumn to me. I'm going to move to luminance and just play around with it some more, see what sticks. So what I have gravitated towards over the years is just a color scheme that feels natural and inviting. I really don't like to go too saturated. So with all these photos, all the foliage, you'll see it's colorful but not too colorful, and that's really what I'm going for. Some of these bushes are looking like pretty gray to me, so I'm just gonna run a quick brush over that. Oh no, I ejected my disk doing that. Sorry, I'm using this on my laptop. Let me reconnect that one sec. Technical difficulties. But that's another thing I recommend. If you're putting your photography right onto your laptop, you're going to crash your laptop. So definitely get an external hard drive. All right, this should reconnect shortly. There we go, back in business. I'm just going to brush in some color into those muddy bushes. There we go. And that's looking better. All right, this is looking like a done photo to me. To show you, that's where we started, and that's where we are now. Looks great. All right, moving on. I shot this outside Portland, Oregon. Let's exit out of this menu, back to normal, and go ahead and hit the forest and foliage. So, like I mentioned before, when you add your preset, this preset, you just go ahead and remedy the things that look off or artificial. So right now you can see there's this weird teal blue color in the trees that's not natural, so let's go ahead, take care of that. It's probably, yeah, it's just a little, just need a little tweak in the temperature. Kind of like this, you know, change is orange mixed with the normal pine green. See, I'm just tinkering here, and it's based on personal preference. Like, if you wanted to go super green, you can go super green. That's a little toothpaste green to me, but I'm gonna go like midway between green and some like what looks like orange sunlight coming in. It's pretty nice. All right, the second thing I'm noticing that I'm not loving is how blown out it is. We're losing all the detail in the airplane. So I'm just gonna drop down the highlights and drop overall exposure down. Another thing, it's pretty crunchy here. The blacks are really black, and I don't like the contrast there, so I'm just going to up the blacks and drop that exposure down. Once again, all right, that's pretty cool. And now down to presence. Just whatever looks good to you based on your preference. And now to hue, saturation, luminance of the earth tones. You can just play around. I kind of liked it with that just orange. That's nice. All right, and end with luminance. Yeah, I think dropping the luminance is giving more detail to the forest. That's nice. All right. It's looking pretty good. So we started here, and we're here. It's pretty good. All right, moving on. Shot this in the desert of New Mexico. We go to forest and foliage, and bam, right away you can already see we're looking like we're 90% of the way there. I'm just gonna tinker with temperature and tint real fast, just see what's anything changes I like. A little more New Mexico gold in there with a little bit of purple. That's nice. There's golds and then there's purple. And one thing I'm noticing here is that the shadow, I feel like it could be a little more blue. It's very, very gray right now, so not like the others. I'm just going to up the blue a little bit. Yeah, that's nice. All right, so just check out presence. Let's get a little more texture in there. And lastly, I'm just going to tinker with the earth tones. See what, if anything, sticks that I like. That's nice. A little more dynamic range there. All right, I think that's good. It's probably the fastest edit yet. So that was from there to there. Pretty cool. All right, let's move on to another green one. This was a lake in Switzerland, so I'm going to hit forest and foliage. This is my style, you know, this really muted green, at least right now. I swear my style changes all the time, but I'm just going to, I could see it being a little more green. You know, it's a little too muted right now, so I'm just going to pop up that saturation some more. Anyway, let's tinker with the temperature. Based on your preference, I kind of like this look of like orange and green showing on the same plane. kind of an interesting color scheme, but if you just wanted to go full green, well, go somewhere in between. It's pretty nice. Something I'm noticing right here is this blob is doing some. It's got some weird colors here, looking a little irregular. So that's definitely gonna be a temperature tint thing. Yeah, let's go where it's just out, but I want this still to be more green. So there we go. All right, and that's looking pretty cool. Highlights. Let's see, kind of like I like all the leading lines in this photo. They're just all pointing into the distance. So I'm gonna make sure it looks natural up here. It's looking a little weird blue up there. Maybe I don't need a spot thing, but like, do you see this blue I'm seeing over here? It might just be a saturation thing. Yeah, like that's where it is. So you just drop that to gray. And maybe the same with the, no, definitely don't want that. All right. Yeah, there we go. That took care of that. All right. And because everything is pointing into the distance, I want to focus the eye even more on the center. I might add, where are you? There we go. A little more vignette. It's cool. All right, that looks like a done photo to me. Pretty cool. We started there, and now we're there. All right, moving on. One of my favorites. I shot this in Switzerland out of a hotel. We go to Forest and Foliage. All right, so right away, what I notice is that it's pretty blown out here, so I want more detail in the scene. And then this wood is pretty reddish instead. It's very too red. I want it to be more orange. So let's take care of that. Just to start, so a little more detail there. And just gonna hit the red. Yeah, get it back to being more orange. All right, so let's start at the top. Play around with tint and temperature. It's pretty natural. Contrast, clarity, that added a little more detail into the window view, like that. All right, and luminance. Oh, I like that it adds more detail to the wood here. So it's orange now, but I think too orange. I kind of want to drop that to a more natural tone. All right, that looks really cool. It'd probably be straightened out a little bit. Here we go. That looks like beautiful window scene. Started there, and we're there. So you can see how you can start to pick up a rhythm on this once you get going. And lastly, here's a goofy ass photo of myself. I just wanted to include a portrait to show you guys that this works with people and skin tones as well. So let's go ahead and hit Forest and Foliage. Okay, first thing I'm noticing is that the blacks are very black. So there's no detail in my sweatshirt and the beard and the forest behind me. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Just hit up the black some more. But when I up the blacks, now it's getting a little pasty in my face. So let's drop the exposure down. All right, that's cool. My face looks just a little too soft, like clay. So just want to add a little more texture into that. There we go. I'm looking more human now. I think the background is still a little dark. Like, love to see a little more detail there. Yeah, love a little bit. All right, so now that those things are fixed, I'm just going to go back and tinker these settings. I don't want to lose. I know I'm a pasty dude, but I don't want to lose too much of my color in my face. So, yeah, here we go. All right, so texture's good, clarity there. All right, hue saturation. Start tinkering around like the others. That looks cool. All right. Let's see. Yeah, that looks great. All right. So if you followed my work for a while, you probably know I like a good dramatic sky. I like a moody sky. So let's bring the best out of those clouds and add in a gradient filter. And you can see what's happening over there. I just like how much more intense and dramatic this scene has become just doing that. So that's cool. All right, that looks like a done filter, or sorry, a done portrait to me. You can see where we were, where we are now. All right, so thanks guys for following along. Thanks for purchasing. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Feel free to tag me in anything you make. I'd love to check it out. And until next time.